I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and today's question comes to us from Adrian, who notes that as one who has loved and lost, how does one know when it's over, and presumably how can one move on? Now, I'm assuming in this question that you're referring to my brief courtship, subsequent marriage, and eventual estrangement from Sonia Green, and not to that one time I dropped a ham sandwich in a puddle. This is not to in any way compare Sonia to that ham sandwich, but merely to point out that when it comes to love and loss, there are many different degrees and variations. I assume it comes as no surprise to know that the idea of love as this transcendent force never really appealed to me. That's not to say that I did not hold a great deal of affection and appreciation for certain people in my life, but as far as the mawkish sentiment as portrayed in various Victorian poems, no, I never quite understood the appeal of that. I could, of course, speak to it in the cultural way that it has come down to us, but love, loss, this gets all very sentimental, and I've never been particularly comfortable with that. But that all being said, obviously love has this great cultural weight within our society, and I can speak to that because, well, for something that everyone purports to have a great many thoughts on, I feel that love is misunderstood. There's so many contradictions. There's love is eternal, but it's also fleeting. It is better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, but then the owner of a lonely heart is much better than the owner of a broken heart, as the poets would have us know. And perhaps it is in those contradictions that love truly has its appeal. Because when it comes to such things, when it comes to this idea of loving and losing, that is the debate. Do we attempt to avoid love? Do we attempt to avoid anything that can cause us pain? Or do we embrace it knowing that we will feel that sharp pang of its absence? And ultimately, just as an aesthetic sense of being, I think that we should try to experience as much as this brief life has to offer. That includes pain. Now, obviously one can go too far and follow that to its logical course and assume that we must experience every little thing like stepping on thumbtacks, but that's not precisely what I'm getting at. This world in which we live is fleeting. It will eventually boil away into the cold vacuum of space, and we can take comfort in that nothing that hurts us ultimately matters, or we can take a different kind of comfort, that in spite of all of our irrelevance, despite how insignificant we are in the grand scale of the universe, there are moments when we can allow the world to touch us and matter enough to hurt. And there's something illogical, irrational, but ultimately very human about that. Besides, you can always find more ham in the fridge. As always, I'm Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Thank you.